Okay, guys, Warren's stepmom, the judge, says that they're willing to help now. Here's what Ashley Cole says. We have decided that we will not be speaking to the press at this time. The media is not the appropriate forum to further elaborate on the facts of July 4th, 2026. We realize that the truth will not stop calls for the death of our small children. We have not had the opportunity to speak to the Wells-Wansley family or their attorney. However, we are willing to directly communicate with attorney Ben Crump and the Wells-Wansley family. We will provide them with all information known to us so their family can rest and properly mourn. We also want to know what happened to Nolan. We will do everything within our power to assist Nolan's family in their quest for answers. This comes shortly after Nolan Wells' mother, Christine, said that they had not reached out. None of the parents on the boat had reached out to them. Sounds like Ashley Cole and her family, they're willing to participate in the quest for answers. It did take them a week, but they're on board. If y'all could please tag Ben Crump's team or whoever, they need to be in contact.
There's an update in the Carmelo Anthony and the Nolan Xavier Wells case. I'm gonna just do a 2-in-1 because I'm irritated. I have to get this shit off. When it comes to Carmelo Anthony, they, according to the affidavit, they didn't want to bring up the fact that Austin Metcalf had a racist history and that he was, him and his brother were bullying people. He almost got put off the team because he was fighting and shit. Like just a very, troubled little boy, okay? But they agreed to not bring that up. I wonder why. They didn't want to bring up the fact that Carmelo Anthony has epilepsy and that he suffers from seizures. I wonder why. Why didn't y'all bring in a child psychologist to see what's going on with his fight, flight, or freeze response? I wonder why. They didn't want to mention that Austin had a very bad discipline record and a very aggressive behavior. I wonder why. But they requested a new trial and Ben Crump is on this case and the Nolan Wells case, so I will keep you updated. And I feel like Carmelo Anthony would have definitely ended up like Nolan Wells had he not defended himself, okay? Speaking of Nolan Wells, his dad said that he doesn't want to believe that this is a race issue. And he said that Nolan didn't see color, and that really irritated me because this is a race issue. What are you talking about? But y'all know that mama had to track down his phone because the friends would not give her the phone. And when she got the phone, everything was erased from his social media accounts. I wonder why. They claim they got back home like around 4:30, but didn't notify Nolan's parents that he was missing until 11:07. I wonder why. On the 5th, the daddy went to go search for him, didn't find nobody, but on the 6th, they got a call that his body had been found. Suspicious. Then they went to go get Nolan's car from the friend's house. The friend was giving him a hard time when it comes to finding the keys until some other girl told him where the keys was at. Then all of a sudden he knew, gave him the keys, closed the door, and when the police got there, they didn't want to talk to Nolan's family or the police. I wonder why. I trust that Ben Crump will get justice for Carmelo Anthony and Nolan, but please stop teaching our children to not see color. Because when them people see us, they see color. The fact that Carmelo and Nolan's friends turned their backs on them, the friends that don't look like us, is a prime example that they do see color. And if they have to choose between helping us or saving their own ass, they gonna save their own ass every time.
Let me get this straight. Nolan's mother had to track down his phone in order to get it back. They had to beg and plead for Nolan's car keys. When they received the phone, they noticed messages were deleted, Snapchat videos were deleted, and then his body magically showed up a day after. The day after his family went to that same location. And you want me to believe there was no foul play, especially when I'm seeing a pattern of evidence being tampered with. We got all of this going on and not one arrest. Lord knows if this was 4 black boys and 1 white boy went missing, all of these boys would have been arrested, no evidence needed. Given the history of Mississippi and the Mississippi police, I'm actually very thankful that everyone is talking about this case. This case has reached Colin Kaepernick and Tyler Perry. They're paying for the autopsy and making sure his body gets from Mississippi to DC. And they're also paying for the 18-year-old's funeral. 18 is such a crazy number to even say out loud. And don't come in my comments telling me it's not about race when one...
Did you know that most coroners are elected or appointed, and in most states, they don't even have to be medical professionals? And I've been watching the outpouring of grief and outrage at the death of Nolan Wells. And I'm reminded of Cohen Wiley, Kendrick Johnson, Tamla Horsford, and so many other Black children, Black men, and Black women who have died under extraordinarily tragic and suspicious circumstances. And often with these cases, while the loss of the person is, of course, horrific, the pain and the miscarriage of justice remains for families who don't get answers. where suspicious deaths are labeled as suicide or accidental in spite of evidence to the contrary. And we see this with MMIP cases too. Indigenous families regularly do not receive care and justice for their loved ones. And racism plays several roles here. Of course, in the violent actions towards individuals, including neglect and lack of care by white people who are considered friends, but also within the justice system. But all of us have bigger roles than we realize as people who care. And so while we have to do the work to uproot our own biases and racism and anti-Blackness, we also have to hold the system and people who work in the system accountable. There are a lot of elected officials who play important roles in how these cases are handled. Judges and district attorneys, of course. Sheriffs also have a lot of power. And there are a lot of states who have coroners as electeds as well, frequently on the county side. Often these positions are in down ballot races that most of us never hear much about these elected positions, and we don't know who the candidates are or their professional history or their character. And so while there is so much grief and outrage, one of the things that we can do is learn who are the judges, the district attorneys, the sheriffs, and even the coroners, whose duty is to seek answers and justice and hold them accountable for when they don't.
On that island, or he was dead on the boat ride back. That's why as soon as they got back, they lawyered up. Because why would you think to lawyer up as soon as you get back on the get back home? That part just doesn't make sense to me. That means something happened. He said, you told your mom. Who's a judge? Like, my mom can help us. She a judge. She got connections. We gonna figure it out. And I think that's how it happened. I think they told their mom what happened, and she said, shut the fuck up, delete all your social medias, we're gonna get a lawyer, and then they gonna go from there. Them having his phone, it's suspicious. Them saying they left at 3, 4 o'clock, but didn't realize he was missing until 11 o'clock, it's suspicious. Them saying it was a girl somehow there that nobody knew, which means you trying to put somebody there that nobody can get in contact with to say, oh yeah, they did it. But nobody can get in contact with them because nobody know this person. That's odd to me. I'm not wanting to give the dad his son keys back. That's also weird. There's really deleted messages, deleted pictures, deleted videos in that phone. That's also weird. Now, my thing is, can't you recover anything deleted from a phone? So if something was deleted from that phone, we should be able to see what was deleted from that phone. But my gut feeling is telling me that Nolan was with them on the way back home. And I think he was, I don't know at what point in time he was unalive, but I think they went back and took his body there. That's just what I think. Because if the parents have searched that area, that exact area, and they say it was somebody staying on that island, but they never seen anybody there in distress, none of that. Somebody stayed overnight. They never seen anybody there. I think they went back at some point and dumped them in the water. That's just what I think. They now, if the people was on the island, didn't see anybody come back, maybe they just got close enough where they could just put them in the water. I don't fucking know. Maybe we need to contact them people who was on the goddamn island. But this shit don't make sense. Now, what is the autopsy saying? One thing I seen was they said it was no water in his lungs to say he had drowned. So now that part becomes even more suspicious. Because how can you just be in the water? Y'all say he drowned, but there's no water in his lungs to say he drowned. I think he was there before he even touched the water. Pretty much. He was there before he even touched the goddamn water, and they tried to stage it like it was a drowning. Like he tried to, I seen something say he tried to swim from one area to the other area to catch a boat, and he probably got in distress on the way there. Why would he be the only one having to do all that goddamn swimming? Why would he be the only? So much shit with this story that's not adding up, and we know the lies are falling apart. We know because now they say initially nobody called to report a drowning. Now, I forgot who it was. They revised their statement and came out and said, oh, we did receive a call saying somebody had drowned. But y'all didn't do nothing about it in that moment. Y'all ain't go out there immediately. Y'all waited till the next day. But y'all got reported that somebody had drowned out there. That tells me that, now I don't even really want to say this, but the mom is pulling strings behind closed doors. She's the one that said, delete all them socials. We gonna lawyer up. Because she already had knew the story. When they got back, he told his mom, whoever mom it is, he told his mom everything so she can get ahead of it. And she said, fuck it, we gotta lie. I'm gonna get y'all out of this. So now the lies are piling up. They can't keep up with the fucking lies. The truth is gonna come out. The truth is going to come out.
Flew his body up from Mississippi to D.C. because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here. And the fact that they keep trying to say, well, suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning, it is not adding up.
We just want answers.
Did you catch it? That was attorney Ben Crump, who was representing Nolan Wells' family. He said they're moving Nolan's body to D.C. for an independent autopsy because there's a trust issue with local Mississippi police. Between 1877 and 1950, there were 656 reported lynchings in Mississippi, more than any other state in the entire country. It's where Andrew Goodman, James Chaney, and Michael Schwerner were murdered by the Klan during Freedom Summer. And since 2000, there have been at least 8 suspected lynchings of black people in the state. Mississippi has a long history, past and present, of racial terror. We don't know what happened to Nolan, and it may or may not be related to race, but pattern recognition is not jumping to conclusions. That mistrust is rooted in facts. Attorney Ben Crump also shared that Colin Kaepernick is helping to pay for this independent autopsy. Concurrently, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo's family has struggled to retrieve his body because the ICE agents that murdered him took away all of his identification. The hospital took him in as a John Doe. His death has been classified as a homicide. Additionally, the 3 men who were in Lorenzo's car are contesting the Department of Homeland Security statements, claiming that Lorenzo never weaponized his vehicle. ICE has detained all 3 men and is attempting to deport them. Many are speculating this is to keep them from testifying about what they know. Neither of these families get to just grieve. Their grief is mediated by mistrust, deliberate barriers, and unanswered questions. It's a harrowing reminder that the experiences of black and brown bodies in this country, in life and in death, are too often mediated by white supremacy.
So not only is Colin Kaepernick paying for Nolan's second autopsy, but Tyler Perry has stepped up to pay for Nolan's funeral. And there are also other celebrities like Lil Rel Howery who have stepped up with monetary contributions to the family. Nolan's family decided to have him airlifted to DC for a second autopsy because clearly the law enforcement in Mississippi can't be trusted with anything. They're over here saying, oh, it's no foul play, and taking the stories of Nolan's so-called friends as truth. It's literally their department's official statement. The family doesn't trust it, I don't trust it, we don't trust it, which is why they're getting a second autopsy. Now the folks in Mississippi are saying their autopsy is going to take a while too, so we'll see what they have to say, but I'm not counting on it saying anything differently than what we expect, which is that Nolan somehow did this to himself. Instead, I'm waiting to see what that second autopsy has to say. Also, as expected, there are a certain subset of people who are choosing to be terrible on Twitter/X, talking about the reason why the celebrities are contributing to the families is just because they're black. Duh! Oh my gosh! Duh! That's why we're here. Because that's the reason why Nolan's not here anymore. So that's the reason why we're stepping up. We are here to protect and uplift our own, especially when our own are under attack. Of course, a black celebrity with power is going to do everything they can within their power to see that justice is served for another black person. Of course, it's because they're black. Of course. It's the fact that you think that's such a bad thing that tells us exactly what to think about you, especially when black folks aren't known for getting justice as it. But these were the kind of folks who were going to have something to say anyway, okay? These were the kind of folks who do not want to be on our side, and we do not need them on our side. We need justice on our side. That's what we need. So I'm so grateful that some of our celebrities are stepping up to make sure that this family is well represented and also well supported. Not only does this have national attention now, but it has the attention of the people who can actually do something about it. Because without that, I'm pretty sure we all know what the outcome would be. On to the next and next after that. But here we are a week later still talking about Nolan. Don't look away from this. Keep your eye on this and use your voice to raise awareness about this as much as possible. Justice for Nolan Xavier Wells.
The body of 18-year-old black teen Nolan Xavier Wells has been found. His white friends who were with him on the trip have already hired lawyers. Wells vanished July 4 during a 4th of July boat outing to Horn Island, Mississippi, about 10 miles off the Gulf Coast. A park ranger found him in the water near the northwest end on July 6th. His phone was not with him. It was in his father's possession. The island has no cell coverage and is only accessible by private boat. Search teams, including the Cajun Navy, scoured land and sea since his disappearance. Authorities have not said how many people were on the boat or who made the missing person report. But online video suggests a possible altercation before the friends left Wells behind. One friend is the child of a judge, and all of them quickly retained lawyers. Wells was reportedly heading to meet a girl, but instead his friends took another boat and departed without him. Why did his phone return, but he did not? Why the immediate legal protection? The family and activists are furious, comparing this to other cases where Black victims' deaths were dismissed as accidents. Officials are awaiting DNA confirmation, though the family says they have identified him. What do you think?
So when we made it home, my sister and I actually went through Nolan's cell phone, particularly Snapchat, because that is so popular with the children. And when we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. And we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, he's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed, hey mom, come on, take a picture of me. You know, like that was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts. But I do want to say this. I would hope that any parent who, God forbid, would be in our situation, I would hope that you would do the same thing. I would hope that you would ask for any help, receive any help to get answers, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. We just want to know. We just want to know what happened and why our baby didn't come home. Like that's our biggest thing. And we are so grateful to everyone, family, friends, classmates, United Cajun Navy, everybody that's assisted us. We appreciate you. There's not enough thank yous that we could say or give to you, but I just, we just want to know. We want an honest, thorough investigation. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah, and Black people would have never left little Timmy on that island by himself, right? We would have never left Billy behind. Argument, no argument, girl, no girl, we would have never left them behind. And the audacity of it all to come back, call at y'all got back quote unquote 4 or 5 o'clock. Y'all call at 11 p.m. to tell me my kid didn't come back with you. But y'all got his phone, y'all got his car, and y'all don't want to raise up off that stuff. What you mean you don't know where his keys are? What do you mean you don't want to hand over his phone? And you can see that Black and white people are just culturally different, because none of that stuff explains why y'all came back -1. That would have had to be turned into a -4, because 5, all y'all light it up. We don't do that. We don't do that. We're not leaving that island. We're all coming back. And then people are like, well, he left with a girl. Oh, he could have had an accident, slipped. Oh, it could have been use of substance and alcohol and all that. Okay, doesn't explain why they left him, quote unquote, left him. None of that explains why they left him. And yes, that's absolutely putting somebody's life in danger, because there is no way on or off that island other than a boat that he came on. And you have his stuff.
Y'all, somebody is lying. Because after Nolan Wells' parents' press conference, this timeline makes even less sense than it did before. Nolan's parents actually went to the exact spot where his body was later found. The day before he was found. Yes, you heard that right. During the press conference, Nolan's father explained that he didn't have a boat the night his son disappeared. So around 5 a.m. the next morning, one of Nolan's coaches offered to take him out to Horn Island. They searched the island everywhere and couldn't find Nolan. What's also important is that people had stayed overnight on the island and there were boats docked there. So if Nolan had really been stranded, he would have had people to ask for help, or at least somewhere to take shelter. Then the very next day, the family got the call that Nolan's body had washed ashore in an area they had already searched. Now let's talk about what happened at the friend's house. When Nolan's parents went to pick up his car, One of the boys who had been on the boat gave them a hard time about handing over the keys. Nolan's father asked him to check his room. He came back saying he couldn't find them, but then his father overheard him on the phone with a young woman, and she told him the keys were sitting on top of the Xbox. After saying he had already searched the room, he suddenly came back with the keys. Then, once police were on the way, the family reportedly refused any further interaction with Nolan's family or law enforcement. Now let's get to the timeline. The boys and one of their mothers, who's a judge, reportedly said they left the island sometime between 3 and 4:30 p.m. But Nolan's mother didn't get a call saying her son wasn't back until 11:07 that night. The girl they've linked Nolan to also reportedly said she saw him getting on the boat with his friends around 3 p.m. So if they left with Nolan's phone, why did it take until almost 11 o'clock to tell his parents he wasn't there? And they never even told his mom they had his phone. She had to track it herself and send someone to pick it up. Do you think this is really just a tragic accident? Or do you believe there's still a major piece of this story that hasn't come out yet? Because this timeline is exactly why so many people still have questions.
Okay, y'all. So I wanted to come on here and talk about this Nolan Wells case and the hypocrisy and the professional gaslighting that I've been seeing from people on social media, which is not something that we haven't seen before, especially in regards to cases when it comes to Black people being unalived, right? I'm not saying 100%, oh, his friends did it. I actually do believe that sometimes accidents do happen, but what I will say is the stuff that happened afterwards should be red flags. And the people who are saying wait for the investigation to finish and who are getting mad at other people for assuming guilt, right? They cannot get mad. They cannot get mad at other people for assuming guilt when they are assuming innocence before the investigation is done. And I know people are going to come and say, oh, innocent until proven guilty. Yes, in the court of law, correct. I'm not talking about the court of law. I'm talking about people's opinions. I'm talking about the public. I'm talking about everybody commenting on Instagram, everybody commenting on Facebook, everybody commenting on YouTube. That's who I'm talking about. You are a hypocrite if you are getting mad at someone for assuming guilt while you're assuming innocence when the investigation has not fully been completed. It makes no sense to me. The lake-splaining, the island-splaining, the phone-splaining, oh, the phone is on the boat because there's no signal. Like, it's 4th of July. It's 4th of July for people to use that as an excuse, right? And if you're logically thinking, you don't need signal to make videos. You don't need signal to take photos. We saw that, right? We saw videos and we saw photos from that day on 4th of July. The fact that you guys are taking what those boys have said and are using it as Bible. There are 3 sides to a story. The boys, Nolan's, and the truth. Unfortunately, Nolan is not here to be able to tell his side. So the fact that you guys are using what those boys have said so far as fact, right, without the investigation being complete, is a red flag. The fact that you guys are not believing his parents in regards to them seeing that Snapchat information and stuff like that has been deleted, right? But then are believing the mom, the stepmom, who is a judge, who said, I'm going to give you the facts in her statement. Also, following that up in the same sentence saying, my husband and I were not at Horn Island. So if you and your husband were not at Horn Island, you can't give the facts. That's hearsay. You are giving what your son and his friends told you. And you guys who are biased are taking that and saying, oh, well, that had to happen. This has to be the truth. This is why there's such a racial issue and divide in regards to all of this, because you guys are automatically assuming the white people. And you guys are automatically dismissing the black people in this case. That is the issue. I'm not saying that they did this due to race. I'm not saying that they did anything, actually. But I am saying that what happened afterwards should make you think a little bit harder. Should make you think, oh, let's say he did leave the phone on the boat. Why did they not say, hey, Nolan's mom, we actually have Nolan's phone. He left it on a boat. We could bring it to you. Why did they just not go voluntarily bring it to them? Why did the mom and the dad have to track it Life 360 and go and retrieve it? Mind you, hours after realizing, hey, Nolan has not come back home. Those should be red flags to you. But so many of you are biased and want to assume that these boys are innocent when we've had plenty of cases in America overturned due to lying. And not only in regards to citizens, everyday citizens lying, but we've had cases that were overturned due to police lying. Are we going to pretend like we haven't? If you can believe that these boys are automatically innocent, then people have the right to believe that these boys are automatically guilty. Because at the end of the day, the investigation isn't complete. Everybody's both going off of assumption. So my opinion and what I think people need to do is wait for the investigation to finish, yes, but not be oblivious to the red flags that we are seeing in regards to these stories. Because it doesn't make sense. And also, my black people, I need you guys to stop entertaining the gaslighting. Like, these people, and I know everybody's gonna say, well, what do you mean by these people? I'm talking about the white people who literally dismiss black people every single time because of their racial bias. Yes, I'm going to say it, their racial bias. Those people have their minds made up and will make every single excuse in the book to make it seem like these people are innocent without the investigation being done. Do not explain yourselves to them. Do not entertain the, oh, there's no service. Do not entertain any of that because it's BS. Anyone that uses logic and that does not dismiss the red flags can see that this does not align. The stories do not align up. And there are white people who are also not racist, who also do not have racial bias, and who also see that this story is not aligning. The stories aren't aligning. Also, the whole boys will be boys, and I've seen plenty of boys leave their friends behind, and oh, I don't follow my friends to no, all that stuff. My thing is, and this is why I'm saying I don't even think it's a racial thing. I just think that some people are just not good friends. Because I would never leave my friend on the island. If my friend said, oh, I'm going to stay back because I want to talk to a boy, I'm staying in that boat until she's done talking to the boy. Or I'm dragging her on that boat so we can both go home. And I'm telling her to get that boy's phone number and you can talk to him later. Same with males. Whether I have a male friend or a female friend, this is an island. Water is involved, boats are involved. This is not a club. This is not a bar. This is not on land. Like, this whole situation is not an everyday situation. So it's just astounding to me that people do not realize the hypocrisy on both sides, right? On both sides. And that people will continue to professionally gaslight. And also on top of that, I will make a comment in regards to this case, and then a white person will come and say, well, you just want them to be guilty due to racism. You just want it to be race-based. In my comment that I have said nothing about race. Said nothing about me wanting it to be due to race. Said none of that. And the reason to why they are assuming that is because of my race. People will tell on themselves. When they say that you want something to be this way because of race, because you're black, because some people in the black community want it to be that way, they group us together. When they say y'all and what you said doesn't even align with what they're saying, they're grouping you together based on your race. They're already telling on themselves. They're already biased because you are black. Stop entertaining them. And stop being hypocrites. Point blank, period. I don't think that the police are doing enough in what they're supposed to be doing, because his friend Javon said that he was not interviewed. And on top of that, the white woman who sent in the video from Horn Island also said that she was not interviewed. That is a red flag within itself. And that is exactly why his parents want to get everything done independently. And you should not be questioning that. If your kid was passed away, you should not be questioning why.
An 18-year-old football player went to a remote Mississippi island with his friends on the 4th of July, except his friends returned without him. But somehow, Nolan Wells' phone and car keys returned to the mainland with them, and 2 days later, Nolan was found dead in the water. Now his parents say that the story they were given doesn't add up. Witnesses have reportedly given conflicting accounts, and a video allegedly captures Nolan arguing with someone to give him his phone back shortly before he disappeared. This is everything publicly known about the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Nolan was an 18-year-old from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. He graduated from Ocean Springs High School in 2025, where he played multiple sports and became a wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College. He would have turned 19 in August and was reportedly supposed to return to college on Monday, July 6th for football camp. His parents, pictured above, Christine and Elmer Wansley, described Nolan as peaceful, respectful, and naturally protective of other people. His mother recalled a teacher telling her that when a student with special needs answered a math question correctly, Nolan encouraged the entire class to celebrate him. They also said that Nolan was a strong swimmer and an elite athlete. That doesn't make drowning impossible, but it is one of the reasons that they are demanding evidence before accepting that his death was simply an accident. On Friday, July 3rd, Nolan visited his parents' home and cooked salmon for them. And before leaving to spend the night at a friend's house, Nolan hugged and kissed his mother and told her, "Hey mom, I'm about to go. I love you." That was the last time Christine heard directly from her son. The next day, Saturday, July 4th, Nolan traveled by private boat with several friends to Horn Island. Horn Island is an undeveloped, uninhabited barrier island approximately 7 miles off of Mississippi's Gulf Coast. It's around 11 miles long and can only be reached by boat and does not have normal visitor facilities or drinking water. Attorneys for Nolan's family have said that approximately 200 people may have been on or around the island celebrating the 4th of July. Here is the photo that has been circulating publicly showing Nolan on the boat with his 3 friends. One of those friends has been publicly identified. His name is Warren Hudson, and his mother, Ashley Cole, is a Mississippi Chancery judge. Authorities initially said that Nolan was last seen at approximately 3 p.m. Warren's mother later said that her son also reported last seeing Nolan around 3 p.m. But according to the account given publicly, the friend's boat did not leave Horn Island until approximately 4:30 p.m. So that creates an unexplained period of approximately 90 minutes. If Nolan was last seen around 3 p.m., where was he between 3 and 4:30? Who was the last person to independently see him alive? Was he still near the boat? Was he with another group? And what happened during that hour and a half? Those answers have not been publicly released. The explanation given on behalf of the group is that their boat began experiencing mechanical problems. Ashley Cole, the mother of one of those boys, said that the boat was taking on water and had a problem with its bilge pump. She said that the group decided to leave Horn Island at approximately 4:30 p.m. According to that version of events, Nolan chose to stay behind because he planned to return to the mainland with another group of people. Sheriff John Ledbetter also said that investigators were told Nolan chose to remain on the island and believed that he would get a ride home with someone else. But again, that is still a witness account. No publicly released text, recording, or direct statement from Nolan has established that he voluntarily chose to stay. And Nolan's family attorney, Ben Crump, says that another witness reportedly gave a conflicting account. According to Crump, the young men claimed that Nolan was staying behind to talk to a young woman. But Crump said that that woman reported Nolan told her he was going back to the boat with the boys. That is a crucial contradiction. One version says that Nolan planned to remain on the island. The other reportedly says that Nolan intended to leave with the people who brought him there. Now, the woman's complete witness statement has not been released publicly. We don't know exactly when she spoke to Nolan, where the conversation happened, whether anyone else heard it, or whether she personally watched him walk back towards the boat. But then there is the alleged argument. There is a video circulating online that Crump says captures Nolan in a heated exchange involving his phone. Nolan can allegedly be heard saying, "Give me my freaking phone, what are you freaking doing?" Now, some articles are claiming that that wasn't him, and other articles are claiming that it was. But Crump says that people familiar with Nolan identified the voice as his. However, law enforcement has not publicly authenticated the original recording, confirmed exactly when it was filmed, identified the other person involved, or established whether the confrontation became physical. The recording doesn't prove that Nolan was killed, but it does raise an extremely important question. Why was Nolan demanding that someone give him his phone back shortly before he disappeared? Because remember, Nolan's friends returned to the mainland without Nolan, but Nolan's phone reportedly returned with the friends. He did not have it on Horn Island. His parents said that they had to use tracking applications to figure out where the phone even was. Christine said that Snapchat appeared to show one location, while Life 360 indicated that the phone had returned to the mainland. She understood that to mean that Nolan and his phone were no longer in the same place. And what Nolan's mother said she found on the phone also concerned her. Christine said that Nolan had 2 Snapchat accounts and regularly recorded photographs and videos when he attended social events. When the family accessed his phone, she said that there were no visible pictures or videos from the Horn Island trip. She said, "When we opened it up, there was nothing. The family believes that something may have been deleted." Crump has also publicly discussed allegedly deleted messages or content. Again, at this point, there has been no publicly released forensic report proving exactly what was deleted, when it disappeared, or who removed it. His parents also described difficulty retrieving his property. Christine said that someone went to the residence where Nolan's phone was located, but there were problems getting it back. She said that she personally called a parent at the residence and told them, "I'm Nolan's mom. We need his phone back. We're trying to find him." So Nolan's father, Elmore, went to retrieve Nolan's car keys from the home where Nolan had stayed the night before. Elmore said that the young men inside initially claimed that they didn't know where the keys were. According to Elmore, a girl speaking over the phone eventually said that Nolan had left his keys on top of an Xbox. He said that the situation became tense. He felt people were being dishonest with him, and after he recovered the keys, the people inside locked the residence and stopped engaging with what was happening outside. None of this proves that anyone harmed Nolan, but it sure does seem weird. This is your friend, right? He's missing. You would want to cooperate, you'd think, with their family to find him. Nolan was left on an isolated island without his phone, while his vehicle keys were also left on the mainland. Not to mention, his parents said that that behavior would have been completely out of character for him. Elmore said that Nolan had always been taught that if 5 people go somewhere together, 5 people return together. They do not understand why Nolan would voluntarily remain on a remote island without his phone, his keys, or a clearly confirmed ride home. And even under the friend's own accounts, major questions remain. Who exactly was the other group that was supposed to bring Nolan home? Did anyone from that group directly agree to take him? Did his friends physically see Nolan join that group before they departed? Why did Nolan's phone leave the island without him? Why did nobody immediately contact his parents once the boat returned without him? And why did approximately 6.5 hours pass between the boat reportedly leaving at 4:30 and calls being made around 11 p.m.? It was at approximately 11 p.m. when one of Nolan's friends reportedly contacted the United States Coast Guard. The Coast Guard confirmed receiving a call, but said that it did not require Coast Guard assistance. At approximately 11:07 p.m., it was when Christine said that Warren, one of those friends, called her. She has not publicly repeated the entire conversation. She said that Christine then began contacting people and just trying to find her son, and around midnight, she contacted the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. They said that initially there was confusion over jurisdiction because Horn Island is offshore and several agencies could potentially be responsible, but they eventually met with a deputy in a McDonald's parking lot and reported what they knew. On Sunday morning, July 5th, Nolan's football coach offered to take his father to Horn Island by boat. They walked portions of the island, traveled around it by boat, and went through the general area where Nolan's body would eventually be discovered, but they did not see Nolan's body. They also spent the night on the island, and at least 2 other boats were there, so that made them question if Nolan was alive and stranded, why wouldn't he have approached them? Then on Monday morning, July 6th, a National Park Service ranger found a body in the water near the northwestern end of Horn Island. It was Nolan. Authorities have said that drowning is suspected, but as of today, no final cause or manner of death has been publicly announced. All Nolan's family wants is actual answers of what happened and why.